Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today I'm going to be talking about the Blair Witch. Now, let me tell you, I'm a huge fan of the Blair Witch for one important reason. Before I explain it more, I'm not a huge fan of the whole ARG deal. I don't really care for it at all. Kind of dumb. So, with that out of the way, I do the Blair Witch. Where do I begin with the Blair Witch Project? First off, the concept of the Blair Witch just fascinates the shit out of me. I happen to be a huge fan of the whole paranormal investigation, trying to find ghosts and stuff like that. And I've always been fascinated with the concept of what happens if you do a paranormal investigation and it does go south and you end up disappearing and you're never heard from again. Well, Blair Witch does do that. These kids go into the woods to find the witch and they disappear. Now, you could go ahead and say the movie's terrible, they spend half the film fighting over the map and blah blah blah, this and that and this and that. But you gotta remember, it was an independent film, it was filmed in the 90s, and, well, there you go. But, look at it this way, it is one of the highest grossing independent films ever. No other independent film has made it as far as the Blair Witch did. And the way that they marketed this movie was pure fucking genius. They made a fake documentary. They made fake news reports. They made an internet site. They handed out missing person posters, all convincing the world that it was a real deal, that this was actually real found footage. And let me tell you, that right there was groundbreaking. Yes, granted, I'm like everybody else, not a huge, the whole found footage thing has been done one too many times before, and it's kind of cliche. And cliches were big pet peeves. But still, the Blair Witch Project, there was something special. And it was because of that something special that it will never be able to be mimicked. It can't. The Blair Witch Project, there was something special. Now, this new movie that came out, Blair Witch 2016. Now, yes, I know I'm a little late to the scene. I know you can watch Rainbow Horror, you can watch Night Mine, you can even watch Matt Pat, of all people, the film theorist, and get a decent review on, well, except for the film theorist, about the new movie. I'm here to say that I'm a fan of Blair Witch. As I told you earlier, I absolutely fucking love the very first movie. The movie itself, it's in a way, okay, think of it this way. The whole FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's series, I'm not a big fan of the actual gameplay, the whole cliche jump scares, ooh, this and that. It's the actual story lore that goes behind is why I love FNAF the way I do. And the same goes for the Blair Witch Project. The movie was alright. It terrified me when I was younger, but that was because I was younger. And the whole concept of going into a haunted woods, it kind of, let's just say for about a week, it veered me away from paranormal investigation because I was young and naive. So yeah, it did what a horror movie was supposed to do. But still at the same time, the movie wasn't like the best movie ever. It was more of the lore. It was the fact that you could go on the internet site and you can read Heather's journal. There was the mockumentary on the fake documentary on the Science Channel about these kids disappearing and the whole lore behind Blair Witch Project. There's even a book that I once had that I think my cousin still has, where it went more into depth about the investigation and how they found the footage, and more in depth about the Rustin Parr incident, this, that, and the other thing. It's actually a really cool book if you're a Blair Witch fan. I just fascinated by that lore. So when I saw the trailers for them making a Blair Witch 2, which, by the way, as I said, I'm a Blair Witch fan, and when they came out with Book of Shadows, there is no Book of Shadows. I don't give a fuck what you say. We don't talk about it. Let's just better forget that never existed, okay? Never, ever, ever existed. Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows never existed. But when I started seeing these previews for Blair Witch 2016, and when I saw these previews, like, holy shit. Now look at this. Blair Witch is going to be getting the modern age, getting kind of, in a way, it's just dessert. It's 1999 had the technology that we had now. I'm betting you $10 Blair Witch Project would have just fucking decimated the horror scene. But with that said, though, Blair Witch 2016 was great movie. I enjoyed it. I went into the theater. I will say there was a bunch of cliche jump scares, even to the point where the actual actors were all like, "We gotta stop jump scaring each other because it's getting sickening." You know, in the movie it was kind of like a little joke, you know, because every seemed like every 5 minutes, oh, jump scare because somebody came into the tent or came out of the woods. But with that out of the way, the movie was phenomenal, and it set up perfectly. It started off with this footage of someone running through the house. I mean, the house that they were in at the end. You know, the infamous house scene. And then it turns out it was Heather's younger brother who happened to be 4 when she disappeared, and he's all like, "Oh, she's still alive. I gotta go into the woods and I gotta find her." And so he convinces his friends and this girl, I think is his friend too, and they go to the woods to find his sister, and they find 2 other people who actually live in the local area, and basically the second that they get into the woods, shit just fucking hits the fan. And the movie, people say it's a slow burn. I mean, yeah, granted it is, but as soon as the first night comes, that's when shit hits the fan, and it just goes full bore to the very end of the movie. It just fucking the Blair Witch. In the Blair Witch Project, all she did was simply make noise, throw sticks, ooh, move the tent, and make a bunch of weird stick figures and rock piles. Well, in this one, she does the same thing as she did in the first one, but this time she fucking breaks trees, she throws fucking tents, she let's just say the Blair Witch has gotten way meaner and way eviler in this movie than in the past movie. There is something in those woods that is fucking evil, and it's fucking terrifying. You find out the reason why there's stick people. You find out why the ambiguous ending of the Blair Witch Project, as everybody knows. Spoiler alerts, by the way, if you haven't seen the Blair Witch Project. If you haven't, shame on you. Guy standing in the corner. Ambiguous ending. Everybody's like, why the fuck is this dude standing in the corner? Well, if you were to really pay attention to like the lore, as I was saying, Rustin Parr took 8 children into the woods and murdered 7 out of the 8. And the one that survived said that Rustin Parr made one of them stand in the corner while he killed the other, so that the others didn't have to watch or whatever. That's one of the reasonings why the guys stand in the corners. But the real, true, definitive answer of why they stand in the corner is answered in the movie. There is a unique time paradox. Like the first night, they go to bed at the first night after a bunch of crazy shit happens. They wake up in the morning and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's stick people over, of course. But yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Time paradox. And then the second night rolls around, which is the final night. It doesn't come daylight. It said one of the main characters' cameras goes off at 7 a.m., but it's still dark out, and then it starts raining, and then just more shit hits the fan. But so there's a unique time paradox, and you also find out, like as I said in the beginning of the movie, it starts off with a YouTube video of a girl running through a house, or the house that's supposed to be the Blair Witch houses. And that's how the time paradox comes in, is that you actually find out that the beginning of the movie is actually near towards the end of the movie, but the characters see it, and that's how they end. Let's just put it this way, don't fuck with time, because it's just time. But in this case, it actually worked. I actually do like the time paradox. It actually, when they're talking about how the fact that the night never ended, kind of reminded me of West Records, how it was just, one time, all the time. But, there was a lot of things that I loved about the movie. I love the fact that you actually do get to see the witch. You get to see the witch. And you get to see it. Just, as I said, you should go and see it. I want to spoil the movie for you, but quite honestly, I don't want to spoil the movie for you because I don't want to be a dick. And I know most of you people in the comments like, but I don't got time to see the movies. Well, then you're going to just have to either see a new review or just going to have to put up with it. I mean, I already did a review a little bit more than other reviewers have. But I got to tell you, though, the new Blair Witch 2016, me being a Blair Witch fan, me being obsessed with the Blair Witch the way that I am grateful for the 2016 reboot, and in my opinion, it was great. And it wasn't not really a reboot. Yes, there was a lot of things that were the same as in the first one, but you got to realize this is Heather's brother who's doing this. And I do like the fact that they had all like the little Bluetooth earpieces, they had the drone, they had all this cool sick ass equipment. So that they were more free to act, you know, to move around, run around when shit was hitting the fan and things were happening. I do like that. So yeah, I mean, I could go on hours and hours about how I love the movie. I will say this though, I'm sorry that this review came out a little bit later than I was actually going to do it on the night I came home from the movie, but some whacked out shit happened about a block away from where I was from where the movie theater where I was seeing the movie. There's this mall that's not very far from the movie theater, and there was some crazy ass shit happening. So when the movie was done and we heard about it, we got home right away, and there was just it was kind of a stressful time. I mean, I had the Blair Witch, which scared the shit out of me, and I'm still like shaken up about the whole Blair Witch because I wanted, you know, it's like playing it over in my mind. I'm like, yeah, great movie, but at the same time, there was this crazy incident that happened at the mall, which one of my family members almost was involved in. They're okay, and they weren't involved in it, but it was stressful. And the reason why I didn't do it yesterday was because it was Sunday, and I was just too lazy. But I have it out now. I hope you enjoyed the review. As I said, if you're a big fan of horror, or if you're a Blair Witch fan and you didn't go because you're afraid that it's just a reboot or it's gonna suck ass, it's not. Blair Witch 2016 does not disappoint. There are a bit of cliches, and the jump scares do get kind of annoying, but it is a phenomenal movie. I strongly advise you to go and see it. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video, and so long, and thanks for all the